Welcome, everyone. A very good evening to all of you joining us from the Indian subcontinent, and good morning to all of you joining us from Canada. Thank you for being here today. We have a very, very special webinar planned for you. We realize things haven't been easy for you during this, in the middle of this pandemic, and a lot of you have questions, be it, if you're a prospective student, you're wondering about studying in Canada, studying in King's in particular, or you're a current student and, you need to get some clarification from the university. So you're basically, I'm guessing all of you are wondering how the COVID is going to impact your international student experience. And that's what we are, together here for. So we have an amazing panel of experts and representatives from King's University College at Western University. I'm very excited to talk to all of them, and they'll be talking to you about, the current intake, future intakes. They'll also cover some important facts about, your admission process, programs that are being offered, financials, and so on. So stay tuned, please keep listening in. And just a couple of house rules before we begin in earnest. The first half of this webinar, we're going to be speaking to the King's representatives. There'll be a proper flow, there'll be a back and forth, and there'll also be a presentation that you can have a look at. And in the second half, we'll be taking in your questions. So, there's a chat, the Q&A function at the bottom of your page. That's where you can, type in your questions, share it with us. And, but I do suggest listen in, because some of your questions may be answered early on during this webinar as well. And then, yes, feel free to share them with us. So let's quickly begin by doing a poll. I would actually have a question for all of you to sort of begin with. So where do you actually think King's is located? And I'm launching the poll right now. You can see it in the screen in front of you. I'm giving you 30 seconds to share your answers. Do you think it's in Ottawa? Do you think it's in Toronto? Or do you think it's in London? I'm not going to ask any of the panelists this question though. Okay, quite a few people have already answered. Things are looking promising. Come on, last few seconds, please. Anyone who hasn't answered, do vote. All right. And I am sharing the results. Here we go. London has the biggest chunk of votes. 50% who voted for London, but a mixed reaction for Toronto and Ottawa. So we will reveal the answer shortly. I would like to take this opportunity actually to introduce to you, our first guest today. This is Dr. David Malloy, who is the principal of King's University College. David has been an alumnus of Western University, so he brings with him many, many years of experience in the field of higher education. And yes, it's such a privilege to have you with us, David. Welcome again.
Well, good morning, Anand, and good morning, everyone. Oh, sorry, good evening, everyone. This is a real thrill to be able to speak to you. I guess one of the good things that have come out of COVID is things like Zoom.
Yeah.
So even though we've had this technology for years and years, we're all getting very used to it. So to be able to have this kind of interaction with you is, I think, really wonderful. So what I'd like to do in my comments is give you some just some general information about King's, and then as we go along in this seminar, we can talk about some more specific details.
Yeah.
So
and if you could begin by revealing the answer, David.
Well, yes, I was, yes, exactly. So I was going to say, I'm so glad that you had Ottawa on there as well, which is not the correct answer, but that's my hometown.
Ah, okay.
So it was, it was just nice that everybody saw Ottawa. And when you do come to London, I hope you'll have time to hop in a car or a train and go and visit Ottawa. It's a gorgeous city, and I'm really quite proud of it as my home. But yes, we're here in London, which is in southwestern Ontario. We're about 2 hours southwest of Toronto, and we're located between two of Canada's Great Lakes, Lake Erie and Lake Huron. And I guess the advantage or interesting thing about that is that, Marilyn, correct me, I believe we are the thunderstorm capital of Canada. So we don't get much damage, or we don't get any damage, but we just have some very interesting storms. Wow. And I'm one of those people who enjoys a good storm. Now, it's not a monsoon, but our thunderstorms are quite enjoyable. I find them. So London is about the same latitude as Northern California, to give you maybe a sense of geography. Our summers are hot and humid, though not as hot and humid as you experience in India. But I guess the nice thing is that our winters are really quite mild or relative to other parts of Canada. So you'll enjoy the warm, humid summers, and the winters are really not so bad. If you haven't experienced snow before, you'll love it, and it doesn't last long. It usually melts very quickly after it's fallen. But I think if you're coming to Canada, you have to experience snow. I think that's one of the essential cultural features of you coming here. Right. So yes, London is located in the province of Ontario, which is the largest province, and also a very, very beautiful province. It's massive. It would take you about 2.5 days, 3 days to drive a car from one end to the other. But in general, Ontario is just a gorgeous place with diverse geography, culturally, absolutely multicultural. Of course, you all know Toronto being a very multicultural place. Ottawa tends to be more bicultural, French and English. And London has, since the time that I was a student here, has grown its multicultural nature so much, which is wonderful. The different cultures that we see at the university, in our neighborhoods, it's just wonderful to see the diversity and the multiplicity of languages and people. So from my perspective, it's a very welcoming community for international students. As far as the university is concerned, we're located in just a beautiful neighborhood in the north of London. You might hear, I'm located about 6 minutes. My home is about 6 minutes away from campus. And every now and then you might hear a car go by, but it's very peaceful, very quiet. I look at my front door and there's an 18-acre park right in front of me, which of course when you come you have access to. So it's just a beautiful natural setting. Our university is located right beside the Thames River, which is also gorgeous. So just from a nature perspective, I know when you come, you'll really fall in love with King's University campus. Now, King's, as you may know, is an affiliate to Western University. Now, Western is one of Canada's largest and most prestigious universities, and as an affiliate, we're connected to them in a very similar way as colleges are at Cambridge. So if you're aware of the Cambridge system, Cambridge is a massive complex that has many, many different colleges that all make up the one whole, which is somewhat similar to what we have here at King's. So there are 3 affiliate colleges, Varsha, Huron, and King's College. We're the largest of the affiliates, probably the most independent of the affiliates. The difference, perhaps, is that what we have here at King's is a very close, tight-knit, and independent community. So even though we're connected to the larger university, which is a very good thing because we have access to all of their facilities, whether it's student facilities with gymnasiums and stores and that sort of thing, but also from a research perspective. I mentioned it's one of the largest universities, and it has one of the most powerful research agendas in the country. So we're tucked away a little bit to the side, which is wonderful. We're our own small community, but we have access to this big, fabulous university, essentially whenever we want. We actually have a shuttle bus that runs every 15 minutes, I think, going from campus to campus. So I was chatting with a former principal. I'm new to King's. And I was chatting with him the day before yesterday, and he asked me in my first year what was the biggest surprise that I experienced at King's. And it was very easy for me to respond. The biggest surprise I had was the sense of warm, welcoming, and caring in this community. So despite the fact that you're coming to a place so far away from home, and despite the fact that we're part of a much bigger university, when you come to King's, we hope, and we work so hard to make sure that you feel like you're part of the community, that the professors know who you are, they care who you are, they care about your growth, they care about your development. The staff here is unbelievable. The lengths they will go to help you with your schedule. Marilyn will talk about this shortly. But I've never seen anything like this. So I was at a university for 30 years prior to King's, and I thought it was a great place. And it is, but it does not compare to the care and attention that students receive here at King's. So that, I think that's been the biggest surprise. And I think you as a student, and I hope your parents are listening as well. If I was, I have 4 children, and they're all older now. But if I had an 18-year-old that was going to university, I would send them to King's in a heartbeat, because I know that they're going to be received, they're going to be safe. This is a safe community, it's a safe city, they'll be safe, and they will receive an outstanding education. And they will end up with a Western degree as well. So you're a King's student, but you receive a Western degree. And from my own experience, so I did my bachelor's and my master's at Western, and I did my PhD at Ottawa U. But wherever I go and people ask me where I went to school and I say Western, everyone kind of sits up and says, "Oh, that's impressive." As much as going to any prestigious university in India or going to Cambridge in the UK. From an international student's perspective, King's would not be the wonderful place that we are without our international students. We have a very high percentage of international students, and I am thrilled about this because we have the globe on our campus. And that's critical. So that's critical for international students to experience, but it's critical for our local students to meet individuals from other countries, to understand what their cultures are. I know Nistha and her involvement in the cultural component of Indian culture, and how she brings that to King's is wonderful for everyone. So I'm very, very proud of our international agenda, I guess. And you should know that we want you here. We are better because you're here. And as I say, King's is just a much better university because we have our international students here. So I guess maybe I'll stop there.
Sure. Yeah, I think, I think that was really great, David. And King's clearly sounds like a very great place for international students to study. And I wish almost that I could have had the opportunity to study there, because it sounds wonderful. I mean, it's so inclusive, and all your descriptions of the campus and the city. So that's wonderful. And what we'll do is perhaps we can come back to you for more questions further down in the webinar. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful.
Thanks, everyone.
So time for another poll. Here's what we're thinking. Could everyone over here share what intake they are actually interested in? Are you interested in hearing about the current intake, the fall intake, or about the next intake, January? Giving you a few seconds to respond. Yeah, we have some votes coming in quite rapidly. That's great. Thank you, everyone. And a few more left. All right, there we go. And I'm going to share the results. So, okay, so we have a 14% who are hearing, interested in hearing about the current intake, and a majority of our audience would like to hear about the January intake. So we have a bit of a divide, but luckily for all of you, we have someone over here, our next panelist, who will provide an update on the current and future intakes for you. Some of you may remember her from our previous webinar with Kings, during the summer months. So I'd like you to introduce you all to Marilyn, who's the Vice Principal of Enrollment Services and Strategic Partnerships at King's University College at Western University. She's actually been a part of the King's community for about 30 years now, which is amazing. So I think you're all in very good hands, and we look forward to hearing from you, Marilyn. So welcome again, and could you give us an update about the intakes to begin with, please?
Wonderful. Thank you very much. It is a pleasure to be back with the webinar with Maple Assist and my colleagues, both in India as well as in London. 30 years is a long time. It was not my original plan, in that I came to King's as a very young administrator from graduate school, and I had a very ambitious career plan that I would move to a bigger place. But I fell in love with King's, and I fell in love with King's very much as a result of the kind of community that David has just described. Feeling part of a family, feeling part of a community where you knew each other, you walked across the street, you knew people by name, you felt at home. And I also love the fact that being part of a small place, we could have an impact, so that if there was a need for a change, or we heard from our students about a concern, we could respond. And that made me excited. It made me feel that I could make a difference. I was also so excited by our students. We have incredible students. And as David said, they come from across the world, over 30 countries. And over 20% of our students are international. And I've seen this growth because I was part of the beginning of that way back in 20 years ago or so. And it's made us a stronger, more vibrant place. So when David said you're welcome here at King's, I will add my welcome as well as everybody else in the community. We do our very best to make sure that everyone feels part of a community and is supported both academically and emotionally and spiritually and in every way, because that's what you do when you have family with you. So let me talk a little bit about the practicalities you alluded to as far as the September intake and the January intake. Circumstances are strange this year. Fortunately, we're all working hard to be well, and I've been very proud of the strategy at King's and at Western and in Canada about flattening the curve. And so I feel that we're working hard on that, and it's been a very positive and I think strong outcome as a result. And that's been something that, because we're part of a community, we take care of each other. And I'm proud of the fact that we've responded to it. We still have students in our residence this summer who just couldn't go home because of either the border or the cost of a flight. So they've stayed and they're living with us, and we're taking care of them and they're taking care of us. And so that's the kind of place we are. So going back to the present, we would love to have you come whenever you want to come. Our hope is that some of you will come in September, but we recognize that's going to be hard and maybe not possible in most cases. Between visas and closed borders and requirements of quarantine, it may not be the realistic choice. It may also not be your preference or your family's preference. So you're welcome to come in September, and we're here waiting for you. But we also recognize that that might not happen. And so that if you want to come, start online in September. We'll support you. It'll be a great experience. If things change and you want to come in October or November, you can still continue studying and come to us and be in our residence, be part of our community as soon as you can get here. And we'll make sure that all works as far as, you get here, you pay for your food once you get here in your residence. We'll work that all out. But if the reality is January is when you're going to start, and you're going to wait to start and study on campus rather than online, that's a great alternative as well. So we want to respond to your need and the concern of your family and what works for you. And we're open to whatever works. And we've got a great team here with Neha and Varsha to make sure those details get sorted out. And we're here working together as a strong team, both in London as well as India. We have great services around quarantine. We have great services around transport and welcome at the airports. So we'll make that process as positive and as smooth as possible. And of course, we're waiting here. Can't wait to give that warm welcome when you get here. So just a few details. We'll take admissions applications whenever you send them. We'll have you come whenever you want to come. We'll get you registered in your courses right away or for January. We'll talk to you about when you want to start in residence, and that can change because it might have to change, and we'll change it. So we realize that COVID makes us all flexible. We have to adapt, and we're here for each other. And that's the way we want to respond because that's what families do. So what I guess I'm trying to say is we recognize these are uncertain circumstances. It's hard to make plans, and plans may have to change. So we're here to work with you to fulfill our goal of getting you here and your goal of coming to Canada, getting a great quality education at what I would consider one of the best universities in the country and one of the best communities within the Western University. So that's what I'd like to emphasize, that we're very, very flexible and that are really on the way through. So that if for some reason you have to change your plans altogether, or there's a delay or a problem with our immigration, the whole fee comes back, the whole deposit comes back, because we realize those changes are part of the circumstances. And so that's always been our policy, but we're getting even more flexible because we realize we have to all be flexible. COVID has made us realize too that there's been a global downturn, and we're all having those impact financially. So we've always had a very generous scholarship program, which we're continuing to strengthen. It'll go up again next year. And we have provided a stipend to help with the COVID circumstances. It doesn't compensate for the situation or the increase completely, but it does show a commitment to our international students and a way of providing some assistance. And to give you a context, the global downturn is affecting all of us, including the college. So for the first time in our 50 years, we're going to struggle through a little bit of a financial crunch. And so that even with that circumstance, we've made a commitment to this stipend for our students because we care so much that we want them to recognize we're aware of the circumstance and the impact of all that's happening across the world. And that, of course, is an application you can fill out. It's available for people who start in September or January, and the full stipend is there whether you start in September or January. And you know, our Western fees are set by Western University, and so that's something that's been beyond our control. We've advocated to have some sort of relaxation of the fees in light of the circumstances, but unfortunately that didn't happen. So this is the King's response, which is different than the Western response, which has been no response. And we're going to be working hard to advocate that the fees are more stable and stay in the same range. I alluded to the fact that we had a very quick turnaround with our closure in March. I want to tell you a little bit more about that because it shows how we pivot and how we respond. A little bit about why I stayed at King's and why I love King's is a circumstance comes up. Our first priority is our community members, our students first and foremost, and each other, whether we're a student or a faculty member or a member of our staff team. We responded right away. Everyone could stay as long as they need be. Food services were delivered to residences. People were checked on every day. There was staff on campus. Everything was safe and sanitized and secure. And I think that that indicates that that's the ability of being part of a small community and being student focused, that we really, in all circumstances, first and foremost, our health and our wellness and the success of our students comes first. So I would like to assure you that we've always had a commitment to providing a welcoming and warm environment. And part of being welcoming and warm is that you take care of each other. So that I do think that one of our biggest advantages at King's is our students, because they care about each other and take care of each other. But it's also because the people who work at King's feel the same way. And so that's how we've built a community where people feel valued and understood and known. You know, the old thing, oh, you'll never be a number at King's, is very true. And yet at the same time, when you want to get away from the small town, the small community, and go to the big city, Western's a short walk away. And we're part of a very dynamic, student-friendly city, London, that provides a really great and vibrant student experience. So I'll stop at that, and I'll be happy to answer any specific questions later.
Sure. Thanks a lot, Marilyn. I think that
My
makes
pleasure.
it, the welcoming, warmth that you all have for students who are actually itching to sort of get to King's and to Canada from here. I mean, I think it's very reassuring to hear what all you have said. And yes, we will come back to you with some more questions in a bit. Now, I'd just like to quickly introduce everyone to, we have the admissions and liaison officers of South Asia over here. We have Neha, Dixit, and Varsha, Khurana. Welcome, both of you. Thanks for joining us once again. I know you guys have, I think, a lot of important details to share with our audience, and we look forward to doing that. And I think, Neha, you have a presentation. I thought I'll quickly ask everyone before we begin with the presentation, a very specific question on programs. So what sort of programs do you all, prefer, or what are you looking to study? Is it business, is it arts, or is it to do with, social sciences? Please share your responses. I'll wait a few seconds. Okay. All right, that's 30 seconds. And sharing the results now. So we have business as, I think, the most popular choice, followed by arts and social sciences that are pretty much at par. So Neha, I think, taking those results in mind, if you could give us an idea of what sort of program specializations that international students can sort of expect from King's, and if you could begin your presentation, that would be great.
Sure. Thank you so much, Anna. So first of all, I would like to welcome everybody who just taking out time and joining us today in this session. I hope the information which we have covered so far is useful to you. And of course, feel free to ask any questions you have after the session. We are open for the question and answer. So I'll be talking about the programs which you can consider at King's and about the admission requirements and of course the tuition fee. And one of the most important questions for the international students, like after working so much hard work, after putting so much hard work in grade 12, what kind of a compensation or reward you can expect from King's? So let me just begin the presentation with our program offerings. So at King's, we are offering all 4-year undergraduate degree in business and liberal arts. And by seeing the poll, of course, I can say we have all the programs which an international students are looking for.
Great.
So our first program is Bachelor of Arts, and I try to let some of the specialization which you can take in the second year of your program. So once you apply to King's, you do not have to specify your major and minors, because I do understand it might be difficult for a grade 12 students to decide which specialization or which major and minor you should consider. So at King's, first we are teaching you the subject, and then you can or you may select your major and minors before completion of your year 1. And of course, there is a team at King's who can help you to decide on those. So you're allowed to take 2 major and minors, and if you decide to go for that, it will be an honor degree. If you decide to go for a major and minor or either 2 majors, so you're allowed to make any combination as per your preference. Also, I try to list some of the specialization here under the Faculty of Arts, but of course we have many more subjects to offer. The entire list is there on the website, but of course you can get in touch with us anytime to know more about the program. So we have several unique or say non-traditional specializations at King's. So if you'll talk about this Bachelor of Arts program, I would like to highlight the specialization, the subject of world religions, because the study of world religion and culture is also highly practical. And of course, you're allowed to combine this subject with other subjects like psychology, sociology, or social work, because our study of the religion and culture of the globe is an essential ingredient in bringing positive change to the world. So as you can see, these specializations are not limited to the academic, but also it will help you to improve the society. Moving on to our next program, which is again an undergraduate degree in social science, 4 years program. And again, we have a special subject to cover in this slide, which is thanatology. So King's University College is currently the only university in North America to offer the Bachelor's of Arts in Thanatology. And this unique program gives students several degree options in thanatology with the option of combining a major and minor in complementary subjects like childhood and special institute, social justice and peace study, or psychology. So those of you who are not aware about thanatology, what it is all about, so the thanatology program offer a wide variety of courses, including an overview of grief, ethical issues, or society, children and death, spiritual and philosophical issues, and of course, diversity and social justice. So if you're looking for a non-traditional specialization, I should say thanatology is one of them. And of course, the most popular program among Indian students or the students from South Asia is business program. So our business program known as BMOS, Bachelor's in Management and Organizational Studies, and it's a 4-year undergraduate degree in business. And as I mentioned, once you move to your second year, you may choose your specialization according to your area of interest. Also, the MOS program offers an industry internship program for a student interested in practical experience prior to graduation. And I'm sure every student would like to work or gain some practical experience before leaving the program or before completion of the program. So as interns, students spend 8 to 16 months working in the industry between their 3rd and 4th year of this BMOS program. And let me tell you, many employers find this program is even better than a traditional co-op program, because it gives the employer a longer time to assess the students, and the students are able to work on different projects and see them through from beginning to end. So this kind of a practical experience, of course, will not only improve your employment opportunities, but it will also help you to understand the today's professional world. Moving on to our next program, which is Finance and Wealth Management Program. So it's a collaborative program with Fanshawe College, and it is the ideal program for the student who would like to make their career in finance and wealth management. So this Finance and Wealth Management Program is a 4-year collaborative program offered by King's and Fanshawe. And successful after completion of this program, the student will receive Bachelor of Arts in Finance, 3-year degree from Western University, and a business in finance degree, which is a 2-year diploma from Fanshawe College. So of course, we are not disappointing to those students who are just focusing on finance. This is the ideal program to go for. Moving on to Richard Ivey School of Business. So the students who are joining us for our business program have this option to transfer their program to Richard Ivey School of Business in the year 3rd. That's because, as I can see in the slide itself, Richard Ivey is offering honors in business administration. So once you successfully spend first 2 years at King's, you may apply to Richard Ivey. So just to brief you about Richard Ivey School of Business, Ivey Business School, commonly shortened to IVEY, is the business school of the University of Western Ontario, and it is located in London, Ontario, like King's. And IVEY offers full-time undergraduate programs, MBA, MSc, and few PhD programs, and also maintaining 2 teaching faculties in Toronto and Hong Kong. And also, Richard Ivey is credited with establishing the nation's first MBA and PhD program in business. So the question is how you can apply to Richard Ivey. As you can see here, there are 2 ways to get into Richard Ivey or submit your application first. If you have a grade 10 and 12 score of 90% and above and an acceptance from King's, you may submit your application to Richard Ivey. If not, you do not need to disappoint because you have the other option, which is called merit-based entry. So you have to maintain the average of 80% during your study at King's and a very strong profile. And that makes you eligible to apply to Richard Ivey School of Business. Moving on to our next program, which is Social Justice and Peace Studies. So Social Justice and Peace Study, it's a part of interdisciplinary program. And it is one of the only program in Canada that combines the study and work of both justice and peace. This program critically examines the root cause of social injustice and violence in society, in our community, and in the world. So, and it involvely explore alternative to injustice and violence by focusing on how to build peace and justice. So if you are looking for the subject like law or social justice or peace in the society, you can go for this program. Moving on to the most important part, of course, every student would like to know how much they have to spend during their study at King's. So this is the tuition fee for King's if you're considering a business program. So 45,700 is the tuition fee for the first year. And if you're looking for the social science and arts, then the tuition fee is $36,000. And of course, the good part is we do have on-campus residences, and we do welcome our international student to stay on campus with us, and the total fee for the residences is $13,000 for the entire academic year with the meal plan. And of course, we are not disappointing you in terms of the rewards and recognition. So because we do understand how much hard work you are putting in grade 12. So we are quite liberal about the scholarship. So as you can see, our scholarships are ranging between $10,000 to $16,000, and it is completely based on your academics and your non-academic achievement. It means if you have participated in any extracurricular activities like sports, MUN, then it makes you eligible for the scholarship. And you do not have to apply to these scholarships separately. Once you apply to King's and submit your application, we ought to consider your profile for the scholarships. So here we have different types of scholarship, like we have International Excellence Award, which is given to the student who secure 75% and above in grade 12. And then we have few entrance level scholarship. So based on your grade 12 score, the minimum amount you can expect is $1,500, and it can go up to $3,500 if you're applying to BMOS and social science. And if you are a prospective applicant for art specific program, then the minimum amount is $3,000 and maximum it can go up to $4,500. And also, I would like to highlight one scholarship here, which is International Work Experience Program. Being an international student, of course, you would like to work in the country. So under this International Work Experience Program, we offer an opportunity for all the international students to work part-time on campus in jobs that accommodate their studies. So the objective of this program are to offer student training and experience that will assist them in further studies and their eventual entrance into the workforce. And also to provide an opportunity to contribute to the well-being and success of Kings, as well as to provide some source of earning for international students. So apart from your study, of course, you can go for this International Work Experience Program and start working. And then we do have continuing scholarships. So based on every year senior year performance, you might avail the scholarships. Moving on to our admission requirements. So we are looking for grade 12 with the average of 73% and English language proficiency score of 6.5 overall with no band less than 6. And we do accept TOEFL and PTE. And specifically for this September intake and January 21 intake, we are accepting Duolingo, and the minimum score requirement is 115. And of course, good news for all the Indian students, if you do not have maths in grade 12, you do not have to worry because you can still apply to King's without mathematics, because grade 12 maths is not one of the mandatory criteria we are looking for. The application process, so we are accepting online application. This is the link for the application. Of course, we'll be sharing our contact details after this presentation. Feel free to get in touch with us so that we can provide you this application link. Just go to the portal, fill up the application form, and as you are a valuable international students for us, so we are giving you an application fee waiver. So you can just fill up the application form, and after that, the next step you have to do, you have to share all these documents for your application processing. So you are required to submit all these documents or share all these documents on my email address, which I'll be sharing after the presentation. So I need your grade 12 final score. If you do not have your grade 12 final score, you're still in 12, you would like to apply to King's, you can apply for unconditional acceptance on the basis of your grade 10 score or predictive scores, or your IELTS or TOEFL score or Duolingo scores, passport scan or back copy, and resume and SOP, of course, is not the mandatory documents which we are looking for, but if you have a very strong SOP, please feel free to share it with us. Talking about the residences, because you are moving to a new country, so of course you are looking for the place to stay. So I will not call it residences, I will say it's your home at King's. So living in residences offer another dimension to your King experience. Living close to all the resources at King's and living with classmates is an excellent way to thrive academically, because you will be in touch with your classmates, you will be in touch very close to your faculty members. And one thing I forgot to highlight about our small class size and student and faculty ratio, because that is the most important point most of the international students would like to know. So the average class size is 54 and the student and faculty ratio is 24:1. The reason why I'm highlighting this, because being an international student, you would like to talk to someone. What if you're feeling homesick? What if you're finding difficulty in any subjects? You might would like to get in touch with your professor. And of course, the only drawback I can see, you cannot miss your classes, because your professor knows you by your name, so you share a very personal relationship with your professor. And talking about the residences, so of course, King's University provide on-campus housing for approximately 400 students. Living in residence puts you next door to all the facilities at King's, including food services, library, your classes, bus services to Western and the City of London. Double rooms are a standard accommodation for first-year students, but for this year, for 2020 and 21 academic year, all residence room will be single room. And King's is very pleased to have students from around the world living in residences. Typically, 35% of our residents are international students. And we are proud of our multicultural residence community, and we encourage residents to embrace the opportunity for cross-cultural learning this community offers. So that's all from my side. Of course, I'll be taking your questions regarding application process. And if you would like to know more about any of the programs, feel free to ask any question after the session. Over to you, Anam.
Thanks a lot, Neha. That was very informative and detailed. Um, what we're going to do now is a quick poll from you guys once again, and this is what we would like to know from you. What I think student services are, of course, very important, and would you like to share what kind of support you're expecting from the university? What is important for you? Is it getting career guidance? Is it immigration counseling, or general well-being counseling, or anything else? We'll wait a few seconds. And there we go. All right, sharing the results now. It seems career guidance is what most international students are seeking from their university, followed by general counseling, and then immigration services. So that leads me to you, Varsha. Could you now tell us what sort of services that international students and students in general can expect from King's University College?
Thank you, Anam, and thank you everyone here for joining in today. And this is overwhelming that students here, parents, and our agent and partners and high school counselors, and I can see everyone joining us today. And thanks to Marilyn, thanks to David, and thanks to Anam, to you also for organizing this session, which is highly recommended at this time when students are going through a tough situation and they have a lot of queries to clear with the university. So student services is it's one of the very important part, when parents, they decide for their kids, for their high study abroad plans. So there's one concern which they always think about, because they rely upon the universities. So when they just pick up a university for their kid, so once they decide with that, the second concern, a very immediate concern, is whether our child is going to be happy, or maybe it's going to adjust there, or maybe there may be situations, and they should get hands-on support. Yes. So I'm going to cover some of these student support services which we offer at King's, and I am also going to brief you what extracurricular recreational activities we have in King's. Yes. So I'm just sharing my slide with. Yeah. So to start with, university and college. University college offers programs in arts, social science, childhood and social institution management, organizational studies. We can talk about the programs and students they can offer. But what will happen, once they offer the program, then they start thinking about their, residences, and then they think about their friends and then faculties and the other support which they look at. So I am starting with university. King's University is support services, student support services, which I feel is a very, very important part to cover with you all. So university is a place to grow and to learn, which is why King's offers some of the very important, excellent learning resources to our students. So new international students have to adapt a new place, new culture, perhaps a new language in a different country. So this is how we have to think about our students. Once they are here in the campus, they should come and share their concerns with us, so that we can provide them with the support and whatever support is required from our end. So proceeding further with, to start with, we have summer academic orientation, which is SAO, which is an opportunity for all first year students to receive in-person academic course counseling, to select their classes for September. Students are also they receive information related to registration, fee information, residences, they receive their King student card. These are basic things, but then when student the first time they enter into the university, these are the basic things wherein they want someone to support you then. So we have a very active and efficient, staff who takes care of the students' queries, and, they help them with the mentoring and other services so that they feel at home. So this is how it is. Then we have like tutoring services. Tutoring services are like connects you with academic help as you need and when you need, basically. So student first, when they come to the campus, they are fine at times, and then later they feel like, oh, this is something wherein I need support with. So this is how we come into the picture. So we have health centers in mathematics, management, and economics. So these are like 5 days a week, student, they can drop in anytime, they can take the help, they can take the support for the better understanding of the subjects. We do have like, Department of Modern Language and, offers a free French tutoring classes at King's. So here students, they come in the first year or second year, students, and they take the help from their senior students, and they volunteer their time and they share their, knowledge with them, so that student, they master the difficulties in learning language. So this is a part of tutoring services. Then proceeding further with, we have, personal counseling, which is one of the very, very important part. Since we all are in education, we understand students, they seek, counseling as a timely attention to them. And each student, they come with a different, thought process. They have a different attitude. So we really need to cope up with the students as per their, concerns. So personal counseling is like, it's a long-standing concern. And students, they encounter, difficulties at times, and they also like, they don't feel comfortable, or maybe they look for someone who can understand and then just help them in the right direction. So students seek counseling for a variety of reasons. Some of the reasons for a new students getting into the universities, they have like anxiety issues, they have family concerns, they find it very difficult to cope up in a new culture. Then, they have like, these are very basic issues. They have like eating problems, and then, self-esteem concerns, connecting with new friends. So these are the basic concerns which we deal with the students. So our counseling service staff at King's are professionally trained and widely experienced. They always welcome students with their concerns, and we make sure that we help them, and we try to make them as comfortable as they feel at home. So proceeding further with, we are committed to helping, students with whatever support they need in order to accomplish their personal or academic goals as well. So I'm not just talking about academic counseling or personal counseling as a whole. Also, there are situations when students, they are like, in a different country, in a university, they want, there are different situations wherein they want support. So we are there, and King's, student support services, they are very, very committed to provide, highest standard of, counseling services to the student. Then we have academic counseling. We are committed, and we provide students a very timely and professional way of counseling to the students. We have helpline numbers for the students wherein they can reach out whenever it is required. So we actually, we request our student to share their concerns with us. Some of the concerns which we covered during academic counselings are like, how do I contact an academic counselor? That is a basic question. They don't even know how to go about it. So this is like, so that's the reason we have got helpline numbers. Then, how do I select courses? How do I check my progress in degree? And, so these are the basic concerns when students look for. Seeing a career counselor can be helpful at any stage of university experience. So I'm not just talking about first year students. So it's for the students who are in second year, third year, and so on. At accessibility counseling, we do have, and the student development, where we professional counselors who specializes in career development, who will help you figure out your best next steps on your career journey, which is again very important. Students, they are in the middle of their programs, and they are also thinking about what they are going to do in future. So that is a time when they need, again, the help from the university in deciding their future, or maybe where they stand, 5 years from now, or what exactly they're going to do. So they seek career counseling for many different reasons. Some of the basic reasons which we know and we encounter with the students is like, making future educational choices. they're in the middle of a program, and then now they're thinking about what next I'm going to do with it. So there comes the career counseling part. Then job search, that is again a very important part of it. When they are overseas, they are in Canada. So second thing they have is like they want to work. They want to be independent, and they're looking for, the jobs option and where they feel comfortable and they feel like, they can deliver their best. So for that, they really have to reach us out. Then we have like, problems like, mobilizing skills to manage career planning. Every student come with a, different skill set. And so they really need regular polishing of that. They really need to learn about that. So again, that is one thing. When they come to us, they share with us, and we provide them regular and frequent services where they can work on their skill sets. Then decision making is one of the very important factor, what I feel. And this is not just for my new international student, for everyone. So at King's, at university, students, we also take care of that student, when they are independent studying in, university, they should decide their goals. They should be able to, make decisions regarding their goals or maybe their future. And then diversity issues, one of the very important parts. So students, when they come to university, so they meet like a lot of other students from, different countries. So students, there are students who are very, very smart, and they know how to go about how to adapt new culture and how to gel with these students. But there are also a lot of students who find it very, very difficult. So there we come, and we have to support them, how to go about and how to adapt this new culture and make new friends. This is all about career counseling. Then, moving on to the right place. This is again very important to share with you all. It's a hub of writers and a part-time department, part of the Department of International, Language, French we have, or the English, and the writing. Our tutors, writing consultants, writing specialists, impart writers working on academic and creative projects, which actually help them in building up their confidence that comes with improved reading, writing skills, thinking skills, and communication. So we have this advantage with in King's, that student, they can come and they can improve their writing skills. We are very, very clear, and we are very vibrant and inclusive and creative workplace culture that reflects the diversity at King's. Students from those who wants to work on their writing skills, or those who wants to learn with the specialists, they can come and they can join and take the benefit of.
Varsha, so that's really great. I think King's has a variety of support systems. That's amazing. Can you also touch upon the extracurricular opportunities?
Extracurricular opportunities, like are we talking about recreational and sports services or something?
Yes,
okay.
That would be great.
So we keep on engaging and involving students as per their interest, and we have a lot of stuff to offer the students.
Yes.
So students, so in Western is renowned for its hugely successful orientation program. As we all know, it is one of the largest in Canada, and caters week-long to students from different cultures, lifestyle, and comfort levels. So King's University College administers specific orientation week activities which are tailored to welcoming international students, and in the campus, their peers, and administration. So we keep on doing something or the other 365 days. It's a calendar. If you just surf through our website, you will see students are engaged in something or the other as per their interest. So there are a lot of stuff which we offer to the students so that they can pick and choose as per their interest areas. Proceeding further with, we have student council. Student council, which is a group of elected and volunteer students working together with an advisor within the framework.
Varsha, do you have it on the slide? If you could share it with everyone as well.
I don't have it.
Okay, no worries. Please continue.
So they organize students and opportunity events and fairs, and then the workshops for the students. Okay. And then we have clubs. So the King's University College Students Council is made up over 70 students, leaders, and 770 clubs. Then members who put in countless hours to ensure your student experience is the best that it can be. Campus events are a place where lifelong, friendships and memories can be made. So it's always good for students to join in, clubs, and then always, being a part of it, so that they can also so it's not about, going to the country for study abroad only. It's always about getting an experience, a lifetime experience as well. So this helps a lot to these students. Then, towards athletics, sports and recreational activities are concerned. So we have, King's and Western organizes a variety of small and large group events, focus on international students. Cultural and academic integrations are there. Our annual parental support or orientation program will provide information and resources that can help King's students thrive into first year. This will be, this year we are planning it through Zoom. So student, they can just surf to website again. So this is all updated on the website. Then, Western's Kings and Fitness Center, which is very, very important. So it's like, students, it's what we say is like, a healthy body and a healthy mind are critical to having a positive, learning. So learning experience. So King students have access to all the facilities at Western, including aquatics, fitness classes, squash, court, and then drop-in sports such as basketball, badminton. So you name it, and there are a few more. So students, they are encouraged to be a part of that, So it's, this is, so as we all are talking about diversity at King. Yes. So we are actually, we stick to that. That student, they should feel more at home. They should always be a part of the community, and the support system within the campus, wherein we have engaged alumni to the students. We have got mentorship programs wherein students, they have mentors, the seniors who are already gone through the experiences which they share with the students, so that they can learn from them. So we actually, work in and around that. Yeah.
Great. Thanks a lot, Varsha. And if you could also share, if anyone has questions, these are the two email IDs of Neha and Varsha. Anyone, if you have questions about admissions or any more details, please feel free to contact them on the emails provided. Thank you again, Varsha, for sharing all that information. And now I know we've been talking a lot about student experiences. We've been talking about supports provided to students. Let's finally hear from a student of King's herself and get to know about her genuine sort of experience. So Nistha, thank you so much for being here and joining us. I think you'll be able to provide a very important perspective to our audience who are all looking to study at King's. So if you could just introduce yourself, tell us what you're doing and how your experience has been at King's.
Absolutely, it's such a pleasure for me to be here. So my name is Nistha Chakraborty, and I'm in my 4th year of an honors specialization in psychology degree in the King's Scholar program. I'm from Kolkata, India, so I'm like most of you over here. Ever since my 1st year, I've been very involved at King's with everything I do. And like everybody said, King's is a very special and a very small and tight-knit family. So you really get the opportunity to thrive and to see yourself grow. In my 1st year, I joined student council and I joined a bunch of clubs. And I think from there, after that, I was a part of the bridging program. I really got that confidence to present myself in the community, to express myself. So I think it's really important that when you're here, you not only focus on your studies, but also focus on building yourself, because of course studies is a priority, but I always tell all my all the 1st years who come in that you should not just be cooped up in a room studying all the time trying to get good grades, because you will get good grades, but you should also focus on building who you are, because once you get that confidence, once you have the connections that you have within King's and within the community, you really feel like you've come somewhere. Yeah. Like my father visited campus last year and he was like, oh my God, Nisha, I'm so proud to see you grow so much, because you're not the same person you used to be. So I think it's very important that you use the resources that you have on campus, like Varsha mentioned and everybody mentioned about all the student services and everything. Really use them to the fullest potential, because that's what makes you grow, and being involved in the community is very helpful. Always feel free to chat up with someone, because everybody at King's is very helpful and everybody wants to see you grow. So I think it's very important being a part of such a community where as an international student, you don't feel like you're one of the numbers. It's rather than that, you would want to feel like a part of a family, which we are. And if anything comes up, there's always amazing people over here who are there to solve your problems. Like, I always keep running to Marilyn with anything. And it's always so helpful to know that you have that support. So I think that's something that is very essential as a part of a King's experience.
Amazing. Thanks, Nistha. And tell us a little bit about your life on campus as a student or in London. What are perhaps your favorite spots around town that you could tell, other prospective students?
So I think being in London is not the biggest city compared to where I think most of us come from, but it definitely has its own attractions. Like over the summer, it's such a nice place to be in, because a friend of mine, he's come down from Waterloo to stay in London for the summer because someone told him about the London summer experience, which is very great for students. Because it's such a warm place to be in as a community. And even in King's, being on campus, I think King's has a very welcoming and a very inclusive space in general, physically and in any and every other way possible. So I think being on campus, I'm always, like I said, I'm always doing something. I'm always involved in activities, and I'm always seeing people around me. I'm always late to class because every single time I'm walking to class, I'll come across at least 3 different people I know, and I start chatting with them. And my professors all know me. So it's just such a nice place to be in terms of the fact that you're not alien in your class, and your professors know you by heart, and you can talk to them about anything. And being on campus, I'm involved with the student council. I'm involved with 2 different clubs this year, and I'm also starting a new club. So it's always a very good place to harbor your interests and to sort of just implement your ideas. So I think King's campus also is a very, like I said, it's a very inclusive space, and it gives you those opportunities, and you really want to exploit them as much as you can. And being in King's and in London, it's a very safe community for sure. Like coming from a different country, it just feels safe to walk home at midnight without feeling like, oh my God, there's someone who's following me or something like that. It's just that paranoia isn't there. London also has so many different spots. Like one of my favorite places is the Covent Garden Market, because it's just so nice. It's just so, I don't know, the spirit is just so enthusiastic. There's so much different food. And I feel like London, despite being a small place, it's so multicultural. There's so many food options, because I'm a big foodie, and I'm pretty sure a lot of us coming from India are. So I think there's something for everybody over here, for sure.
Oh, amazing. And what about your experience, as a student before and after the pandemic hit? Have there been a lot of changes?
So I think as a student, my outlook on how my studies are working has also definitely changed. If you follow the King's social media channels, you'll see that a lot of things at King's has changed, and that kind of broke my heart a little bit, because it's not the same. But I'm like, everybody's trying to make it as real and as normal as it can be, right? So I'm definitely looking forward to my classes, because I love studying. That's a very bizarre thing for a student to say, but I love to study, and I love all my courses. So I'm really looking forward to the online portion of it. I think a lot of people do have a lot of issues with online learning because of how they're not suited to it. They think they're not suited to it, but I feel like we're pretty adaptable,
Right.
and our professors are there. There's a support system, and everybody comes together to make things happen. So yes, I'm a little nervous about the online component of learning, but it's also my last year. So I think I have the resources to cope with it if I do have a problem with it. But apart from that, I think learning has changed, and everybody needs to put in that effort to see where they lie in that situation. So I think COVID has definitely changed our outlook on how we learn.
Yeah, totally. Thanks, Nistha. We do have some more questions for you, and I think there's some questions coming in from the audience as well. And just touching upon online learning, I was wondering if actually our audience has anything to say about that. What do they feel? What mode of teaching would you actually prefer right now? Would you prefer the online, in-person, or a blended type of mode of teaching? Okay, we'll wait for about 10 more seconds. Please send in your answers. Very few prefer online. All right, here we go. I'm sharing the results. So of course, in-person is the most popular choice. 67% of our attendees would prefer that, but quite a few are open to blended programs as well. So that brings me back to, I thought taking that into account, perhaps, would David and Marilyn perhaps tell us a little bit about the advantages of online learning in this scenario?
Yeah, I'd be happy to make a quick comment. So online learning, I think many of us, students and faculty and staff as well, have put so much emphasis on the technological aspect of this. And of course that causes some concern and some anxiety. But I think it's really important to remember that whether a class is face-to-face or whether it's online, the key is the relationship that the professor has with the student. That can still happen online. So it's the engagement that we have between individuals, and that is still possible in what we're calling a synchronous, which means back and forth, a synchronous kind of relationship. So whether, for example, if a student is taking all their classes online and it's one way, there will always be opportunities for that student to interact with the professor outside the lecture. So one of the things that King's is known so well for is our outstanding undergraduate teaching. This is something that everyone on campus takes such pride in. So we have professors who are so dedicated to the quality of undergraduate teaching, and that will continue whether it's face-to-face or whether it's online.
Right.
So I know some of you students are somewhat concerned about what online looks like and how will you cope with it. But I hope I can reassure you that the most important thing is the relationship that you can establish with the professor, and that can happen whether you're here 6 feet away with a mask on, or whether you are where you are in India and you have Zoom conversations with your professor. Now, having said that, we want you here. I want you here. Please, I want you here. But if that can't happen, then the quality of your education will still be outstanding. I can promise you that. The quality, the outcome, the degree you receive will still be outstanding, whether you're here face-to-face or whether you have to take, the first semester or year online.
That's very reassuring to hear, David. Marilyn, anything that you'd like to add?
I totally agree with everything that David has said, because it really is about relationships, and that conversation between faculty member and students, and between students. We all learn from each other, right? Whether or not it's, you know, back and forth. That's what it's really all about. Yes, a faculty member is an expert and has a skill and experience with learning how to facilitate conversation and deliver information. But without that group, there's no excitement, no dynamic thought. So we all learn from each other. And the format that we've chosen at King's for online, in most cases, over 90% is blended. And so that's an opportunity, as David said, to be time interactive.
Yeah.
And yes, if you can't make the lecture, it's recorded and online, you can go back to it. But the emphasis has been that we're all together learning.
Right.
And this webinar today is an example of how we can be together and learn, but even more so if you're in a small group or a small class. And our faculty love being with our students. So they're going to simulate that, whether that's through a webinar or Zoom, or whether or not we're all sitting together in a classroom. And the reality is we have to have smaller groups in our classrooms because of social distancing. So there'll be a blend of attending some of the classes in the classroom and attending some of them on Zoom and being part of that interactive discussion. At King's, we've been committed to trying to make sure that that exciting learning experience that happens because of the rapport between students and faculty, and having absolutely outstanding faculty members who love to teach. That's their first passion. Yes, they're scholars, outstanding, world-class scholars, but they come to King's because they want to teach. They love the students. So they want that to happen as much as the students want it to happen. That's at heart who we are. And so however we have to do that in COVID, we will do it, and we will stay true to who we are. And so I think that's really important too.
Yeah.
I think for those of us, all of us in the audience, if you're attracted to King's, it's probably because you're a person and you like relationships, you like interaction, and you want to be part of a community, and you want to be part of the discussion. The reason I like small classes and being in a room, as you can tell, I want to talk. I want to be part of the discussion. And that's why a lot of our faculty and our students choose King's. And we're going to make that happen, whether it's online or whether you're here. But I agree with you, David. We all want you at King's because we think that community is a huge part of the experience, as well as living in a different culture and meeting people from all over. But in the interim, it's going to be the same quality, the same experience, and I want you to know we're going to know you and be part of your experience, whether you're on campus here in London or whether you're not. An interesting conversation yesterday. One more thing I'll add, and then I'll shut up.
Sure. No, of course.
There's a number of students who can't get here at King's this fall, but had planned to. Some of them are Canadians. A lot of them are international from all over. They're putting together a club, kind of social media stuff, of all the kids who want to be in residence but can't get here.
Oh.
It's being organized by our residence managers. So you're going to have residence experiences and residence friends, whether you get here now or next month or next January. We're not going to let you miss it because we want you connected and part of the community right away. Great idea, eh? They only came up with it 2 days ago, but we're going to make it happen.
Amazing. Thank you, Marilyn. I think those who have been maybe a bit unsure about the online experience would now realize that, you know, there are quite a few benefits to be had, and after all, as you said, it is you know, the quality of education is not going to change, even if the mode does. So I am now going to quickly open the floor for questions. There are a lot of questions that have you know, come up in our Q&A. Let me begin. So someone has asked us, can international students live on campus residence at King's? Marilyn, would you like to answer that?
Absolutely. We guarantee it for international students, and we have flexibility this year. Sometimes it's more difficult for us to guarantee in January, but we do have flexibility this year, and we're happy to do that. Nistha, you might want to add, you lived in residence, right?
Oh,
I did, yeah. I did.
You're off campus now, but for your first year, you were in
I'm
residence,
actually
right?
back on campus as an RA, so I'm the application.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Residence
I'm actually in
assistant. So
residence.
you know more than any of us.
Yeah, residence is always welcoming new students, and like Marilyn said, it's very flexible this year. You can live in a single room this time, and you have, just to be safe, you have assigned bathrooms and toilet stalls and everything this year, just so we maintain social distancing and guidelines according to COVID. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. Thanks. I think this next question, perhaps Neha, you could help us with this. Is the university offering undergraduate engineering programs?
Well, unfortunately not, because we do offer the programs related to business and liberal arts.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Short and sweet. And would you like to touch upon anything to do with PhDs? Because I know this we are mainly covering undergraduate programs, but perhaps some students can look up your website for other options. Yeah.
So King's is only for 4-year undergraduate programs. So we do not offer PhD programs, but they can look for Western, if I'm not wrong.
That's right. Right. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Now we have a couple of questions about scholarships, of course. What are the opportunities? How many scholarships are available actually for international students? Some students have also written to us and said, what about if I'm a student from Bangladesh or Pakistan? Can I still avail the scholarships that you've mentioned?
Of course, so we are quite generous and liberal about the scholarships. We are not asking for any separate application. Once you apply to the program, we'll auto consider your profile for the scholarships.
Yeah.
It's entirely based on your academics and your extracurricular activities. So I've already shared the percentage requirement and the academic requirements to be eligible for the scholarship. And the best part is we do not only offering entrance level scholarship, we do have continuing scholarship which the student can avail every year based on their senior year performance, and also the scholarship for international work experience program. So whether you are joining us or working, and whether you have like scored 75% and above in grade 12, and whether you're looking to avail this scholarship every year, we have all the options for you. And of course, I will encourage you to, if you would like to know the exact amount of the scholarship you can avail, feel free to get in touch with me or share your grade 12 score for the pre-assessment. I will love to do that.
Great.
I would just add that they're unlimited. So if you qualify, you meet the qualifications, it's guaranteed.
Yeah. Thanks, Marilyn. Okay, so Jugal has asked, can we opt for 2 subjects as a major?
Yes, Jugal, you can. You can combine 2 major subjects. That would be an honor degree.
Great. Furkan has asked, could you elaborate on the tuition fee per credit of courses?
So
I guess that would depend on which course he wants to do. So I would ask him to perhaps contact you or Varsha to get to know more details about the tuition fee structure, right? Okay, wonderful. And does organizing and participating in MUNs help in the admission process or getting a scholarship?
Of course it does. And I think Nistha is the right person who can answer this, because I can see that smiley face and that enthusiasm in her face.
Yeah.
So I was a part of Model UN back home, and I also helped. The King's also has a Model UN for high school students that I helped organize for 2 years. So yes, it does help. I think any kind of extracurricular activities that you've participated in your high school does help in your application. At least it helped me for sure. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks. Thanks, Nistha. Are IELTS required for the intake? I know you've covered this, Neha, but perhaps you'd like to just quickly answer it. This participant may have missed out on hearing it.
So, yes, we do need IELTS, and the kind of scores we need, overall 6.5 with no section less than 6.
Okay, wonderful. So, I know students are asking a lot of questions. I was also wondering, David, if you could tell everyone perhaps just the key highlights about, or the unique points about studying at King's?
Sure. Actually, when I addressed the convocation class last fall, I said something like this, that all of you have graduated from King's, and this is a good degree. But if you went to Cambridge, if you went to the University of British Columbia, if you went to the University of Regina, all of these Canadian universities and this British university, you will all be very well educated. So a degree in economics from Cambridge is probably not that different from a degree in economics from King's.
Right.
The difference is that King's students are exposed to the values that King's community tries to instill in all of us. So it's that sense of social justice. So whether you're a business student or a philosophy student, when you leave here with a different perspective of what a job is, what a career is, and maybe what your obligation to the community, whether it's returning to India or whether staying in Canada, what kind of connection you have with the community as a business student or as a philosophy student. So my hope is, well, I know whatever degree you choose, you will end up with a high quality degree. But it's that difference in how you use it and how you perceive yourself using it. I think that's the real difference that King's offers. And that's, no pun intended, that's a value add for us, because we really try to instill that sense of social justice in our students. And something that's very important to me as the principal, and also part of my research, is the whole notion of meaningful work. So I'm hoping that our students, when they graduate from King's, are not just looking for a job, but they're looking for a job that has meaning. And we're really pushing this notion of, accepting the person you are, but becoming the person who you want to be. And so it's critical that students leave here understanding that your working career is a long time. And what a shame to be doing something that you don't like doing, that you're not passionate about. So I'm hoping that our students leave King's having had many conversations about trying to find meaning, not only in their degree, but how their degree helps them find meaning in their career. So if there's any difference that King's has in terms of quality, it may not be so much the content, which is excellent, but it's how we use that content to have a fulfilling career. That's where King's shines, I believe.
Wonderful. Thank you, David. Marilyn, anything that you'd like to add to that?
Well, no, and in fact, when I think personally about my own career choices, it was really important to me, and that was the 80s, where people were very career goal driven, that I wanted to be at a place that it fit with my values, and it fit with what was important to me and what gave me passion. And I think that's really what we try to do at King's, to provide an environment where people can thrive, where they can explore, when they can be everything they want to be, and they can find a way of making sure that their life is not only successful in the traditional sense of security and finances, that's important too, but they're successful with their own life, with their own meaning, with feeling like their life is of value and that their work is of value, that it's important to themselves, and they feel each day when they get up and they're part of their life and their family and their work, that it all matters. And that is what is really important to us. And to me, when you have value and meaning, it's easier to be happy and feel like life is good, even on COVID days. To me, I totally agree with David's comment.
Right. Thanks,
Yeah.
thanks, Marilyn. I know we are very, very constrained by time. I'm going to quickly wrap it up. The last few questions. Neha, if I can just come back to you, one or two questions about the length of the admission process. Can you provide any insight on that?
Sure. So once you apply to King's with all the documents, our average processing time is 2 weeks. So we
Okay.
are,
Oh,
you know,
wow.
yeah. So we believe in, not taking so much processing time, because we know you must be eagerly waiting to hear from us on the decision. So of course, it's the average of 2 weeks.
Okay, great. And someone has asked about undergraduate programs in arts. Of course, you do offer that. And where can they find those?
Of course, so I'll be sharing my contact details again. So as I mentioned earlier also, you do not have to hesitate in contacting me, whether it is related to your profile or if you have any question regarding our program offerings, please feel free to get in touch with us.
Great.
I see one comment about changing your mind. And, part of the idea at King's is that you have an opportunity in your first year to explore and try various courses. So if you start in psych and decide to go to business, or you go to business and decide to go to psych, or you thought you would love X and you find out that you're trying something new at King's because it's a university course and you love it, you can do both or one or the other. So it's very hard to know what you want to do until you start doing it in university. So there's a lot of flexibility. Don't feel that if you're applying for something, it's engraved in stone and it's set. No, that's part of the journey.
Right, right. Nistha, one last question for you. If you were to give, say the top 3 tips to, prospective students listening in, what would you tell them?
Be involved. Don't be afraid to reach out, and don't party too hard in first year.
Great. That's a wonderful note to end on, Nistha. Thank you. And, thank you everyone for joining us today. I know we've taken a lot of your time, but, I hope you've all learned something today, and you'll go back and get in touch with the admission officers here. Neha and Varsha are there. Please get in touch with them if you have any questions. We will also, once you close the webinar, there will be a survey that will pop us. Please tell us about the experience you had with this webinar. And we will also follow up with an email with, of course, these details, and also with the video of this webinar. So in case you miss certain sections of it, you'll be able to easily access it once we share it with you. So thank you again. Thank you, David, Marilyn, Neha, Varsha, Nistha, especially. This has been a very, very wonderful experience, and it's been a pleasure. Anything that anyone would like to say before we wrap up?
I'd just like to say thank you so much for the opportunity, and everyone in India, please stay safe and take care of each other and take care of your families, of course. And I really hope that we can see you soon.
Hope so too. Stay safe, everyone. Take care, and until next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.